Okay. Good evening, everyone. Hope you've had a happy Sabbath so far. Before we get started on the topic, the stepmother, allow Brother Caesar to open up with a word of prayer for us.
Dear Father in heaven, we thank you for this holy and blessed Sabbath day and the time we spent in your courts. We thank you for the wonderful blessings that you have bestowed upon us. And as we gathered on this forum to discuss the counsels that you have given us, we ask that you will give us understanding, knowledge, and wisdom that we may comprehend these things. Bless us and teach us how to love and to serve you and each other. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Okay, as we can see on the screen, the topic today is the stepmother. And from what I've read, it seems as though this is a letter that Sister White is writing to a fellow member of the church. So without further ado, let's start. It says, counsel to a stepmother. And you know, it's a good thing to read this, because when you go on YouTube, you see now many men advising other men not to marry women with children. Stay far from them. And you know, you also have people in the church, you know, who doesn't want to marry men or women with children. So this to me is wise counseling, because I myself would probably say to my children, not to marry a man with children because of the baggage that comes along. But as we read the story, we will see that this is a different scenario, because this is not a man who has children out of wedlock. It seems as though the children's mother died and left the children with their father. But I'll read on and we will discuss as we go further. It says, counsel to a stepmother. Your marriage to one who is a father of children will prove to be a blessing to you. You were in danger of becoming self-centered. You had precious traits of character that needed to be awakened and exercised. So this, to me, is showing this is someone that she knows, isn't it? In order to make these statements.
Well, is inspiration. Is the Lord is showing her that individual, and
Can you hear us?
Yes, we can.
Okay.
so the Lord is actually showing her that individual and what she's all about. She said, you are in danger of becoming self-centered, and that is what happened to many women who marry men with children. You would find that they because some of them who can't have children or who don't have children, and they marry someone who have children, it is always a problem, because in their head they're thinking, well, okay, this is the man, this is the person that I love, forgetting that this man is not alone, he have children. And it would create, and it does create problems when children come into that space.
But in this scenario, it is a bit different. But let's read a bit more before we delve in. It said, through your new relations, you will gain an experience that will teach you how to deal with minds. By the care of children, affection, love and tenderness are developed. The responsibilities resting upon you in your family may be a means of great blessing to you. These children will be to you a precious lesson book. They will bring you many blessings if you read them aright. The train of thoughts awakened by their care will call into exercise tenderness, love, and sympathy. Although these children are not a part of your flesh and blood, yet through your marriage to their father, they have become yours to be loved, cherished, instructed, and ministered to by you. Your connection with them will call into exercise thoughts and plans that will be of genuine benefit to you. By the experience that you will gain in your home, you will lose the self-centered ideas that threatens to mar your work and will change the set plans that have needed softening and subduing.
Mhm.
So here, she's looking on the outside in. And I think from what I read here, this is somebody she knows. Because well, as you said, she's led by the Spirit. Somebody's hand is up. Sit the touches.
Yes, I was just thinking about it. Mary married Joseph and he had children.
That's true.
Mm.
But
And you sometimes find that if somebody does marry someone with children, and then the couple have a child, the other children are jealous of that child because they've got both parents where they've only got one, or they pick on the child, or or the child is abusive to the siblings. It's difficult. It's a difficult situation, but sometimes it works out well.
yeah.
Yeah.
But here she's saying it could be a case too
Mm.
where the mother isn't showing tenderness.
Mm.
Because you know that for me, the difference here is as a stepmother, if the child lose a parent, like she's lost that because it's a little girl, it seems from what I've read. The little girl have lost her mother. She's so in need, isn't it? Her need is great, isn't it?
And it depends if it's a young child, it's likely to get on better than an older child. If it's like a little toddler, it's probably likely to get on better with its stepmother than an older child who might resent or think or compare it with their mother and think, well, she was never as good as my mother was.
That's the problem as
Yeah,
well too.
yeah. The stepmother's got to be kind. Because in the stories what you read as kids, it's a wicked stepmother, isn't it? It is. Look at Cinderella and all those things, all the pantomimes, the wicked stepmother and all these kind of ones. It's always a wicked stepmother.
Kids should have nothing to do with them books.
No, no, they shouldn't. But that's what they learn at school, don't they?
Yeah. But in this case, because she's saying, so before they even married, this woman probably had an issue, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because the fact that she loved the husband and not loved the child, knowing that this child is clearly stated that the mother died, isn't it?
Well, if we don't point to that one only, say for example, the mother abandoned the child and the father had the responsibility of raising the child, and met this woman now. This woman now, she ought to show tenderness towards that child. She should raise that child as if it is her own. No bitterness, no thing. She should see this child as her own child. This is what the council is all about. Because if you marry the father, then hey, you are responsible for the flock that he has.
Well,
It's the same vice versa with a man marrying a woman with children. He should take on that responsibility, have those children, love them as if it is his own.
it sounds easy to do, but you have to remember the world that we're living in now. When men take other men's children on, sometimes and again it depends on the stepfather, isn't it? Some children will feel, you know what, I don't have anything to do with that man because the man is showing and even making it clear that they're not his children, isn't it? So at the end of the day, it's easier when you take, as the twins are saying, when you take a child from litter, isn't it? then you can train that child. But when you take, for instance, a teenager on, it's difficult because this child is going to be resentful. This child is going to always want to war with you because they're always thinking, my mother would do this. No, my mother wouldn't do that. You understand? So in that in itself is a battle. But we read on, he said, because this is not about the child right now, this is about the mother, the stepmother. So she's showing that the fact that she said you love the husband, but you don't love the child or the children that came with the deal. So probably when I don't even know what her thinking was, because if the kid's mother is deceased and you marry the father, what you think? You're automatically their mother, isn't it?
Well, we see cases where that happened, and the children become slaves in the home because everything the stepmother would just throw at them. You do this, you do that, you do that. It seemed at first as if she training them well, but it's not really training. She just piling responsibility upon these children, and instead of having tender love and care for these children, that is not the case.
So then it's the Cinderella syndrome. Then that's what the twins are saying, isn't it?
That's right.
But not all. But that's just sometimes a small amount of people will behave like that. Because it says here, you have needed to develop greater tenderness and larger sympathy, that you might come close to those in need of gentle, sympathetic, loving words. Your children will call out these traits of character and will help you to develop breadth of mind and judgment. Through loving association with them, you will learn to be more tender and sympathetic in your ministry for suffering humanity. So now it's not even now, it goes further than the children now.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like she doesn't have any tenderness for anyone apart from that particular man.
That's right. And you know, you probably would see people in the church like this. What they do, they have stepchildren and they don't treat them well, but still they're part of certain ministry that they're going out and, you know, they're trying to take care of people who are in need. And you have it right in your own home, but still, you know, you're lacking.
And again, it depends on the children. As also, I know this is pointing out the stepmother, but sometimes it could be the children bringing out the worst in her, isn't it?
But if a stepmother would show love and show sympathy, and her heart is softened, and show love to that child or children, you know, sometimes kids respond to what they see around them, what is going on in life. And if they see love, they see tenderness, I'm sure they would be softened. You know, certain things they would incline to do, they would try to hold back because, you know, love has been shown. But sometimes they reach at a certain age and they wanted to do their own thing, then that is a different matter. But the point is that as a stepmother, you have to show tenderness, even though they're going off track. You know, you can't be too harsh and wanted to carry on, or you send you back to your mother or whatever. You just have to.
But this one, there's no mother to send
not,
back to.
Yeah, but we're not really thinking that one. We just talking in general.
Anybody else have any input before we move on? So then we'll go to where she says reproof to a stepmother who lacked love. So then she's definitely the mean stepmother then, isn't it? Because she's showing no love and tenderness to the children. It says here, you loved your husband, and married him. You knew that when you married him, you covenanted to become a mother to his children. So now it's not even one child, isn't it? It's children.
Mhm.
So she doesn't have, and she's going into this with no children, isn't it?
Mhm.
So she's probably thinking it's going to be a piece of cake. But then when she enters into this relationship, now marriage and all, she's getting resistance from the children, isn't it?
You know, sometimes we go into certain relationship very blindly because you know, as that woman there, she just seeing the man and not the children. The children is nowhere in sight, even though they're there, then she can't see them.
She's not interested in the
See?
children.
Oh, wow, she know you can say that. But she's not seeing them. It's not until she's married to that man
She
and then
realizes
the
a
children
package.
are right in her face, that is when she realized, oh, this is a package here. And you know, to make that adjustment sometimes is very difficult for some women to do that, you know, because they don't want that.
Well, it depends also the children, the temperament of the children, because these might be, well, she doesn't say the age group of the children, but if they're small, say between 5 and 10, it's easier to manage them, isn't it? But if they're older, you're going to get resistance, isn't it? Because they're always going to compare you to their mom, their late mother, isn't it?
Mhm.
He said, you are sadly deficient. You do not love the children of your husband. And unless there is an entire change, a thorough reformation in you and in your manner of government, these precious jewels are ruined. Love, manifestation of affection, is not a part of your discipline. So she's always rough. Is that what they're saying?
Mhm.
No tenderness.
Mhm.
Go
With
ahead, sisters. Chocolate twins.
I think if a person's going to marry a person with children, I think they need to make real friends with the children first. Otherwise, the marriage is going to be in jeopardy, because if there's strife in the house, it's not going to be easy. So they need to make sure that they do get on well with the children, reasonably well with the children. Otherwise, there's going to be ruptures.
Disaster.
Yeah,
When
because the children is going to be jealous
yeah,
of the father's love, father sharing his
yeah,
love
so they've got
with
to make
another
friends.
woman, isn't it?
Mhm.
There's always
And that's the thing too, because remember, when the mother died, probably the father didn't marry straight away. So he had the love and the care and the tenderness of those children. So they were focused on their dad. As far as they're concerned, they don't need anyone else. And then when someone else comes in the picture, there's going to be a problem.
And then if you think the children are older, there could be problems then, even if they perhaps they're not living at home. But there's the will, isn't there? Because
Yeah.
this new woman or this new husband's going to inherit part of what they thought was theirs. So you're going to get resentment there as well.
Oh, that's true. So it's a lose-lose also for
Yeah,
her.
yeah. Mm.
Even if she's trying to show love to them, they might not want it. They're like, you're not genuine, even if the woman is genuine. But they have preconceived ideas if they're older. But if they're younger, younger children can be noisy and everything. And when you don't have children of your own, that's a big problem, isn't it? It's a big problem. That would be a big problem for me. Because you just marry, you don't have children. This man have a bag of children making noise. You know, that can be a headache in itself.
You have to learn to accommodate and humble self. Yes, Christ did.
So then don't marry him. I would not bother. Because it's too much. Anybody
That
else?
is exactly what she's trying to say there. You know, you have to learn. We have to learn to accommodate others. Love, no tenderness. You see, the thing is, those children who you can see in your face every day, and you can see certain traits of character in them. Some would be good, and some would be bad. But when you look at Christ Jesus, who came, he knew that he was going to be placed on the cross, crucified, and killed for those who he came to save, but still he done it. You see, what what the Bible says? God so loved the world that he gave his all, he gave his own, he gave his son.
So we have to exhibit selflessness.
Of course, that is what we have to be. If we are trying to have the character of Christ, then that is what we have to exhibit. We have to always humble self, trample self under feet, or else we're not going anywhere in our relationship with our husband. And even she's speaking of the
And the
stepchildren, we're not going
Or
to
with
get
God.
anywhere, or even with God, as we can see these children every day, but we can't physically see God. How can we say we love God when these little ones are craving our love, and we are so hearted towards them?
I think society have made us the way we are, because sometimes you do hear the horror stories of step parents and stepchildren, isn't it?
Yeah.
They don't allow you to love them.
I grow with a stepfather, and it's not that this our stepfather was showing any love and tender care or whatever. But the thing that with him, what he was always make sure is that
You eat.
you eat food. You go to work, and you always would work and bring money home so that we all can eat.
So that's his way of showing love.
We probably
Everybody shows love in different ways.
Yeah.
He might not be the cuddly type to come and give you a little cuddle or anything, but that's his way of showing love, that he cares. The fact that all 9 of you, or 7 of you, none of you belongs to him, but he makes sure there's bread, that you all don't go to bed without food. So in a way, that's his way of showing love and tenderness.
Yeah, sometimes you would come and you would want to make joke and laugh and thing, but you don't find his joke that funny, but you still laugh. That was just his way. But
because in the Caribbean, men shows affection differently. Look at when we went, like when we were no, I leave that one. Leave that one. Okay, let's continue. It says, you are making the lives of those dear children very bitter, especially the daughters. Where is the affection, the loving caress, the patient forbearance? Hatred lives in your unsanctified heart more than love. But what makes that woman hate the children? That's what I don't understand.
It just should be, it's jealousy, probably because she don't have children of her own, and these kids are there, and she probably can't have, or she don't have.
Or is it the way the husband is interacting with the children more than he's interacting with her?
It could cause bitterness
Yes.
as well. Yeah.
So sometimes, you have to see the other side of the coin, because the husband could be creating this problem as well, because he's overcompensating for the loss of their mother.
Yeah. You are making the lives of those dear children very bitter. Why is that? So that this woman, is causing making the lives of those children bitter, especially the daughters. Where is the affection? So you see what is happening here. Why she's causing? Because there's no affection. Love and
So
cares.
so from here, when you read here, it says, censure leaps from your lips more than praise and encouragement. So then there's jealousy. It's obvious there's jealousy. Probably the father has a tight relationship with his daughters, as fathers normally have with their daughters. So she's jealous of the father's love and affection to his daughters, because why would her mouth be spewing disgust towards the children? Anybody have anything to say?
Yes, I was going to say that. Good evening, all, and blessed Sabbath. I was going to say that bringing together, what do they call it here in the UK?
Blended families.
What's the word?
Is it blended?
Families, that's the word. Yes. Yes. Yes, blended, because in the sense that there are, I believe that's what they mean, the two families coming together. So in other words, one, either a wife or a husband, maybe one has children, one doesn't, or they both have children and one of the spouses have died, or where you have the two families, husband or wife, where they've separated, where they have divorced or separated from the other partner, and then they meet new people, but then both of them are coming with children, or one of them is coming with children. Now you're trying to blend those families together. So in this case, they're speaking about someone where the spouse, the wife in this case, has died, and so the man remarries. But then we've got scenarios also where now if someone is divorced and the other one is also divorced, and then they meet people later on, both of them meet somebody, they both come with children, or one comes with children. Now you're blending the families together. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So that is another scenario also, because you're still somewhat a stepmother, and especially if the children are still young and there are children from the man, but the mother is still alive. So they're spending some time, whether it's weekends with the father and the new wife, or some half a week or holidays with the father and the new wife, and then the other time they're with the mother. Do you see how these things can be so complicated? The scenario that's given here is that they've been separated scripturally and biblically by death of one of the spouses. But then now we have other scenarios, especially in today's society, where there is a blending of families from other scenarios, and it's not necessarily the death of one spouse.
It's a tough one,
It gets complicated.
It is. Because
it can become challenging. But in the case of this particular scenario, you almost become an overnight parent, so to speak. You haven't become a parent from the beginning in terms of the woman, because they haven't been mentioned that she has children. So you now become an overnight parent. You have to learn these things, like, you're not starting from day one, changing pampers, the baby's crying, feeding. You see what I mean? It's a different scenario. So it has to be, the husband and the wife really have to be on a similar page, like on a similar page, and they really have to get their communication intact, so they appear with one front before the children, because otherwise those children can undermine and make the life of the mother very, very difficult, especially when the father is not around. There are children who are known to play up, when father's not around, but when father's here, there is golden, they're angelic. So now, or the other.
But don't you think she would have, before she married this man, she would have met the children? You don't think she would, and should have decided for whether or not I can tolerate or I can cope with these children. I think tolerate is not a nice word, but
I think sometimes the hopes and desires that we do have are different from the reality that the situation presents itself when we're in it. And as we know, life is dynamic, so different things can happen, changes every day, and so on and so forth. Otherwise, we wouldn't hear for so many. I mean, there are some good stories as well, but oftentimes you also hear of these horror stories where, you know, the children have not been handled or dealt with properly. You know, there's trauma issues that they're dealing with. There's all kinds of emotional stuff that they're dealing with, and so on and so forth. But also the mother, and this is why I'm saying that the husband and the wife have to have a really tight communication method where they come, especially if the children are a little bit older, like you said, sis. If they're younger, that's different. You still have a level of influence. 7 years and above, that's a different scenario altogether. Um,
because they have already
yeah, so even if she had accepted to be with these children, and because the man comes with children, yeah, it's sometimes the reality is different from. We all know how tough it is to raise children, especially in today's age. Now, when the
so,
children you didn't even start with from the beginning, it maybe will bring other challenges and so on.
so
Because some of the scenarios we're finding now is not necessarily that a spouse has died, but it's rather there's been divorce and a man comes with a child or a woman comes with a child or children.
so what are you saying? What do you think? Are you saying then a man shouldn't marry a woman with children just in case, or a woman, because it's all about the stepmother. A woman should be very cautious when making a decision to marry a man with children because there's a possibility they're going to be a major headache, isn't it? With these children of today. So you'd say to run a mile, isn't it?
No, why are you running? Why are you running?
Running from trouble.
It's responsibility. You know, you just have to play your part right. If
Yeah.
you play your part right, especially when the kids are very small, young children, you play your part right, then these children will grow to love you. Look at um, this lady who we know from Edmonton to your cousin, who took a man with his children, plus he had his brother or his sister children, his sister daughter, and he brought all these children into the marriage relation. And the wife that he married, the woman that he married, she was loving and kind to all of them, just as if they were her own children. And she raised them very well. You know, all of these kids are all are grown now and have all good career and all of that. But
they still communicate with her. They, that's good.
So even though the father had separated from her,
they're divorced. And the kids, when she took those children, they're older.
Yeah.
But again, she's like the opposite of this woman. That's the difference.
But this is the counsel that we get. This woman here now showed tenderness. She showed love for these children, and because she showed these children love, they appreciate it and they appreciate her. So even to this day, even though the father and the uncle are divorced from her, they still in touch with her
to this day.
Up to this day, you know, anything that would always involve her. So you just have to do your job.
It's a good case study.
Yeah.
That's a good example, and hopefully more of that happens. And again, it's going to take much prayer and the Spirit of God to work. Like it was said here, the characters or the character traits, the negative character traits, will have to be, worked on, through the power of, of God. And that is the ideal. That is and there are some scenarios. There are scenarios out there, I'm sure, where it goes very, very well. And I'm just thinking in this case as well, we're talking about the case where the male is the one that had the children. But we also get scenarios now where the woman has the children and the male doesn't have children. Very rare, but it happens. Because even in some instances or some circumstances, cultures sometimes, and it can be very challenging. I don't know if it's just today's age, but where particularly for women who, whatever the circumstances are known or unknown to the society that they move around in, the woman happens to be a lone parent. And so society is not always, and even the church, are not always supportive, or let's just put it this way, single males are not always, at the forefront of even considering that woman who has who has children or a child as a single. Sometimes it even works out easier for the man to have. Let me put it this way. Sometimes you will see that if there is a single man or a single father, he is applauded somehow by society if he's doing this by himself. When it's a lone woman, and a lot of cases, there's more judgment on the woman, irregardless of whether people know her circumstances or not. And so sometimes it's a little bit easier for the single males with children to get women to get another marriage than it is for the women to get another husband if they already have children. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. It does. It is. It is.
So it can work the other way around as well. A woman who has got children to also be very careful and prayerful before she invites, especially if they're really young, before she invites another man in her life and in the life of those children.
It's so true. Anyone else have any contribution to make? Thank you very much for that, Sister V. These days, as you see, men are very, very fussy these days, and they're not interested in women that have children. One would probably, they might look over that, but once you come in along with one and two and three and four, it is a no these days. And the same with women. Women might see a man who have 3-4 children on his own. Yes, they like the man, they love the man, but the children is a problem, very big problem. And that is what we see happening in society today. Why? It is because the love of God is not in these individuals, that tenderness and care. And we always thinking that we should have position in church and we must lead out this. But in your own household or in your own life, you there's no tenderness there. So how can you be in the house of God and show such? That is the big problem that we're seeing in society today. It is all about selfish people. And the prophet is speaking here on this woman who have whose husband have children, but she is not showing no tenderness towards these children, and that is the problem we have today in society. And no love one for another, and it causes big problem in relationship. Because look, for example, like that, I come in a relationship with my children, and my wife is not showing tenderness towards my children, showing no love towards my children. It's not her children, you could say that. It's not her children, but she's not showing that love and tenderness towards them. It would cause a breakdown in the marriage. Yes, I love you. Yes, I know you love me, but what happening with my children? and that is where the problem is. It can cause a big, big problem in marriage, especially that man cares so much for his children, and that woman is coming in there and trying to have those children as slaves. Oh, you do this, you do that. No, 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 no. This man would not like that. Me personally, I wouldn't go in for that.
Yeah, but
Vice versa, if I marry a woman with children, the same I would do for my own is the same I would do for those children. The same love I would show.
well, not everybody is like that though. But at the end of the day, sometimes, as he says, you have women who loves the husband but doesn't like the children for various reasons. And that's why she said here,
You see, like the children now are invisible. The children are there, but they're not there to that woman. She's seeing them, but no, she's not. They're not there. She's not tenderness, no love. The only time that she would see them is if she have the dishes to wash, the place to sweep out, the place to the floor to clean, and the bed to spread. That is the only time that the children will be visible. These are things that happen in marriage relationship.
but this is what they're saying here is what you're saying. Censor leaps from your lips more than praise and encouragement. Your manners, your harsh ways, your unsympathizing nature, or to that sensitive daughter like desolating hail upon a tender plant. It bends to every blast until its life is crushed out and it lies bruised and broken.
Chocolate twins.
Go ahead, Tuckley twins.
Yeah, so I was thinking that the children could feel as though she's taken the father off them, especially if she ignores them and she's making it to the father in front of them and everything. It's got to be tact.
They have created resentment towards the lady. So that will also make it difficult for them to have a meaningful relationship, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. You see, when love is not shown in a relationship, it is very, very difficult. Because if you have a husband who's not showing love towards his wife, she would be bitter. If the wife is not showing love and care to the husband, he would be bitter. If the wife is not showing love and care to the children of the husband, it's bitterness there. So, we have to develop the character of Christ. You see, if we can develop the character of Christ, things would be fine. But if we are stuck in self, there will be problems, big problems. That is the reason why we have so many divorce in our church and among Christian people. It is really, really bad because love is not being shown. That character of Christ is not there. It is all selfishness. This is what I want, and because I want it, I would go all out to get it. It doesn't matter what. And the Lord is showing us showing us this individual, this woman, what caused the problem between her and the children is because there is no love, hatred, very bitter. She put it here. You are making the lives of those dear children very bitter, especially the daughters. Where is the affection? Where is the affection? No affection towards these children, as I said early on.
They don't know hers.
Yet, as I was saying early on, these children are invisible to her. The only time the children are visible is when there is a need. When, okay, you have to go and tidy the kitchen. You have to sweep the floor. That is when these children are visible. Other than that, there is no love and no affection to actually, to grip these children, to have these children show love. show love towards you. Bitterness.
He says, your administration is drawing up the channel of love, hopefulness, and joy in your children. A settled sadness is expressed in the countenance of the girl, but instead of awakening sympathy and tenderness in you, this arouses impatience and positive dislike. You can change this expression to animation and cheerfulness if you choose. So at the end of the day, she's always, some people always look stern and vexed. No matter what, there's never a smile on their face. So that's what she's saying. She has this outer appearance, isn't it? That the child don't even know probably how to approach her. And like girls, you've lost your mother. You need a little tenderness, isn't it? And somebody to show that they care. And this lady probably, I don't even know how this get to where it is, because she should have known that this man has how many kids, because it seems as though he had son as well. So I would have looked and said, oh, you've got 4 children. You're not for me. I'm gone. Isn't it?
No, because she loved the man. And because she loved the man, she went with him. She married the man. But now she finding the children.
Actually living with him and the children.
Now that you're living with the man and the children, it is a different story. The love for those children are not there. But for the man, yes. But for the children, no. You're not showing no love. You're not showing no affection. Nothing at all is being shown to the children. What do you think would happen? Children are not stupid, because children can look at you and know that you don't like them.
And probably,
look at what she said there. Children read. Yeah.
Children read the countenance of the mother. They understand whether love or dislike is there expressed.
You see?
You know not the work you're doing. Does not the little sad face, the heaving sigh, welling up from a pressed heart in its yearning call for love, awaken pity? So she just not interested in the children.
No.
She's just not interested in the children. She loves the husband.
But not the children.
And we have a lot of these relationships. If you as I said earlier on, you go on YouTube and you'll hear men saying, don't marry women with children, don't do it. So now it's not even the women saying to women, don't marry men with children. It's the men who's telling men to run away. Don't date them. Don't have nothing to do with them.
Why? Because the women allow certain things to it's the way they do things, some of them.
I don't know. Should we continue, Tuckley twins?
Yes, we can go until about 8:15 because we didn't. Yeah, we can do the hour, can't we?
It says results of undue severity. It says, some time ago, I was shown the case of J. Her errors and wrongs were faithfully portrayed before her, but in the last view given me, I saw that the wrongs still existed, and she was cold and unsympathizing with her husband's children. So somebody must have spoken to her, but still there is no change. He said, correction and reproof are not given by her for grave offenses merely, but for trivial matters that should be passed by unnoticed. So then here you see the stepmother now is picking. Just is that the girl probably left her shoes at the door instead of putting it on the shelf where there's the shoe shelf, the shoe rack. And instantly, it's a rebuke.
It's a problem.
It's not even, Jane, why didn't you just put it there? It's harsh. Pick up your shoes. All the negative words coming. But that, just reading this, you see the danger in just a man just not doing his homework when marrying a woman. You just want a wife, a woman to look after his children. And probably that's what the stepmother felt as well, that he's looking for a mother for his children, not really a wife.
Could be.
Some men just, you want somebody to look after his children. And go ahead.
So I was thinking along those lines, if they marry her, then they've got a free babysitter, haven't they?
Yeah, so
They don't have to pay a childminder.
And a cook.
And a cook.
a cook,
Yeah.
you get a cleaner, you get everything.
Yeah. They got a housemaid, haven't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that might be why she's feeling resentment
Yeah,
towards the children. She realized, oh, I love this man, but this man only wanted a maid,
Yeah.
a babysitter, a living babysitter. So it can be all sorts, because it's not normal for a woman to take a man on board with small children and be mean to them, unless the children are rude, And sometimes you don't have patience. I don't have patience for rude children. So you can understand. This man took this woman on as his little helper.
In this case, this woman here is very bitter with the children.
Because of the husband.
No, it's not because of the husband. It's because she don't have no love in her.
No, because of him.
No, she wanted him for herself.
No, but he wants a cleaner. He wants a cleaner, a babysitter, a cook, a chef, a chauffeur. It's him.
Let's not focus on the man. This is at the woman.
No, but it's him. He's creating the problem for the woman.
Okay, let's read and see what it says.
It says, constant fault finding is wrong, and the Spirit of Christ cannot abide in the heart where it exists. She is disposed to pass over the good in her children without a word of approval, but is ever ready to bear down with censure if any wrong is seen. I'm telling you, man, this got to be more. This is the husband's fault. This ever discourages children and leads to habits of heedlessness. It stirs up the evil in the heart and causes it to cast up mire and dirt. In children who are habitually censored, there'll be a spirit of I don't care, and evil passions will frequently be manifested regardless of consequences. Sister J should cultivate love and sympathy. She should manifest tender affection for the motherless children under her care. This would be a blessing to these children of God's love and would be reflected back upon her in affection and love. Again, I still believe this has something to do with the father, because even if she's hard-hearted, where is the father's input in this? The husband, I think the husband is neglecting his duty as well as a husband and a father. Now he thinks he's got a maid for life to look after his children. So he's to be blamed. Sorry.
We're talking about the character of that woman.
Yeah, but it's the husband that brings out the bad character in her, because she's a house slave. Because nobody would just get up and hate children like that. You've met the children when you started dating the husband. So I can't see, there's something fundamentally wrong. And I think I can only shift that blame.
Read that again. From it stirs up the evil in the heart.
It stirs up the evil in the heart and causes it to cast up mire and dirt. In children who are habitually censored, there would be a spirit of I don't care, and evil passions will frequently be manifested regardless of consequences. I think it's the Father. It says, when double care is needed, children who have lost the one in whose breast maternal love has flowed have met with a loss that can never be supplied. But when one ventures to stand in the place of mother to the little stricken flock, a double care and burden rests upon her to be even more loving, if possible, more forbearing of censor and threatening than their own mother could have been, and in this way supply the loss which the little flock have sustained. You know, when I read these things about stepmother and stuff, I remember when I started having children, this was one of my greatest fear, that anything should happen to me. I should leave this world while my kids are small. I would bellyache when I was younger that a stepmother would take them on and really ill treat my children. And I've always prayed and asked the Lord, you know, just give me long life to at least see them get to 18. You know, at least, you know, at that age they can stand for themselves, you know. People won't come in and take advantage of them. So, you know, I think for all women, single women or divorced women who are not married at the moment and looking for a partner, and if you know you see a man and the man has children, think hard if you really want to take the man's children on board. Have you got enough love in you to give to the husband and the children to make that decision? Don't just make the decision because you think you want to be married, you love the husband, but you can't love the cow and not love its calves, isn't it? So it is just something for all women to be mindful, because you know, you have men in the church who doesn't want to marry women with children for this reason. They don't want the drama, the responsibility of taking on another man's children, and vice versa is the same for women now. They don't want to take on men who has children because it comes with baggage, a lot of baggages. Anyway, thank you everyone for spending the time listening.
Finish.
Yes,
Then I
and
finish.
that's it. Does
No.
anyone have any? I've read that. Does anyone else have? Is there any other input? We've got quite a few of
Yes,
us.
what I was going to say is that our society keeps sometimes pushing that idea that, you know, steer away from single fathers or steer away from single mothers, especially where now the spouse, one of the spouse has, you know, has died. It's quite a for us who are coming from a Christian perspective, it's quite a hard saying, because the truth is, and if we consider ourselves and think, okay, what would it have been like if we didn't have a mother, or if we didn't have a loving mother for that in that case. And so children, by nature, children need parents, you know, because otherwise, if we think like that, it means that anybody, you know, who has children, and they're not, you know, the other spouse has died, or you know, or they're divorced for whatever circumstances, um, it almost speaks like there's no hope. Like these children are a burden and a cause for them not being able to continue with life afterwards and find someone to, you know, to make a home with, a marriage with. It's quite a hard. It's almost like to because I have children, you know, the question could come to somebody: am I now, you know, doomed for life of singleton, even though that's not what I want, simply because I have children? Do you know what I mean? I don't know if it's coming across correctly.
Yeah, I
So
see what you're saying.
it's important because it's a ministry in itself. And it's important that even as we grow in our own Christian life, those who are able to, who do desire to, to find, partners, and so on and so forth, then it is, you're right, it's a real serious prayer line to God to see if there is a possibility to be able to minister to those children positively, if that man or that woman has those children. Because we all know the statistics that are thrown at us, all that they count in the background and so on and so, especially in these countries, that the statistics are always often negative towards a single mother, more so than maybe a single father with children. And so with those statistics coming out as well, whether they're right or wrong, we know the challenges and difficulties of bringing up children alone. It's for the then again, prayer is key, because it is a very, very challenging ministry in itself for the most part of that kind of relationship. But I don't think we ought to go necessarily what society dictates, but rather seek God in this kind of journey, because children do need parents. And we see the result of children who don't have parents, one or the other, the kind of consequences we then later on, especially in the adulthood, and now dealing with childhood traumas. We're now dealing with counseling. We're now dealing with, do you see what I mean? So it's a completely different, and it has a huge impact. So may God help us in this sort of ministry.
Amen. Yeah, because, sometimes when I listen to these Christian men as well, it saddens the heart that you think another man is telling other men to stay away from single mothers. And most of these men, too, were raised by single mothers who had stepfathers, isn't it, in their lives? And still they're encouraging other Christian men. But, in this world of relationship, that's one of the reasons why we have to put God first and ask Him to lead. And if we're looking for partners that, God knows our needs, He knows our desires, isn't it? And He promised that He will grant us the desires of our hearts. So I think if I was a single mother, I would just put it to God, because as a single mother or a stepmother to somebody, you also have to ask God to help you, that you can be the best version of yourself when raising the children that are placed in your trust. So I pray that, God will help those stepmothers who are finding it difficult to cope with their stepchildren for one reason or another, that they will lay it at the foot of the cross and allow Christ to lead, because we can never go wrong when He leads us. Anything else, Brother Caesar, you have to say?
You just have to pray for each other, even the husband, as you brought out that scenario where he's looking for a maid, someone to take care of his children.
A nanny.
You just have to get a different mindset. And where love is lacking, there is always problems.
I think the father plays a big role in it, even though he's dead silent about him. But sometimes, even if a mother is being horrible and the father steps in and reason and show her, isn't it? It also can cause her heart to be tender. But if the father is just sitting there looking on the outside, looking in, you feel as though you're fighting the battle with this man's children, children that are not mine. And the father think, here comes the burden bearer of his children. But we don't know the full story. We were just given a snippet of what's going on. But I pray that, as I said before, people have taken on the role, women or fathers, stepfathers, who have taken on the role to be a father or a mother to another woman's children, that they will deal with them with tenderness, love, and care. This is how, you have to have the mindset. If something goes wrong and happens to me, how would I want someone else to treat my children? And we should always bear that in mind.
And given the society itself these days is not necessarily set up in a way that is conducive to families and so on there, but God, his desire is that there are families, and we all know families make up societies. And when we come from families where there's been a lot of brokenness and hurt and trauma, it only gets retranslated into the next generation. So through the bloodlines, and it goes on, and the cycle continues. So where in families, um, society, especially the modern day, is not necessarily conducive to family life. So as Christians, then again we have to ask and seek God sincerely where there is an open, because that woman, if she is led by the Spirit of God and she's willing to change her characters and her traits and to learn of God, she could be the saving grace for those children, because the enemy is waiting for them, nice and ready for them out there. And we all know, we got children. We all know how hard it is in today's age to bring up children, single or not. It is tough in today's society. So that woman or that man could be the very vessel that God is using to save a child, to raise the next minister, to raise the next medical missionary, to raise the next father or mother to save another family, from ruin. So it is a serious, serious ministry if God calls it in that way. And whoever that is being called or feels they're being called are walking in line and willingness and submission to learn of God. Because the reality is, it is too hard out there. It is too tough out there, with children coming from single parenthood, children coming from broken families, children coming from, neglectful parents, abusive parents. And as we all learn, and we're not all born with these maternal instincts or these, paternal instincts. Oftentimes we have to learn them on the job,
Mm-hmm.
you see? And
True.
so God is promising here that I can train you. I can help you if you desire to and you are willing, you know? And can you imagine what the society will be like if every child is coming from some kind of, and I use this word loosely, complete home, the way that God would like it to be set up. Do you see what I mean? Can you imagine where they have the love of both the mother and the father? The kind of society we would have out there? Most of
Mm.
the delinquency we have out there, crime and whatever,
Would
is
be there.
due to neglectfulness and coming from brokenness and coming from, life's challenges. And it's, and especially if you're trying to deal with them, all these by yourselves. And for the part of the woman, for example, in most cases, the reality is, especially in this society, I don't know about other society, but especially in this one, it's very difficult for you to be able to be a full-time mother at home, also work, to be able to bring in and keep, to keep a roof over your head, to look after your children, to be present, to be the constant mother that you need to be, as well as you're taking on two roles. Very, very difficult. Something is going to have to give
Mm-hmm.
in most cases. Now, can you imagine, then a father on the other hand, also fighting the same battles and same challenges. But when there's a womanly touch, or there's a manly guidance and discipline and instruction, and they are seeking God sincerely, it could be something very beautiful. But just by doing it alone, it is very, very difficult out there. You know what happens usually as women is we need the man, the man that should have been there or that could have been. If he's not there, The government fills in the gap if that woman is not able to work, or if she decides to look after children. Does that make sense? So now the government is paying the universal credit if she fits the criteria. Does that make sense? Because there has to be a provider there. But if she's going to go and do, that's the reality, is it not? I mean, we need to speak realities. You know, it's not the church that's going to come, or the groups of, you know, and not because they don't want to, they might not be able to, church members, church family, or whatever, who's going to come and now sweep you up and say, okay, come and be in our household, let's all do this together because this and this has happened, and so on and so forth. No, the first thing that you're going to be told or go think about is, okay, go and claim this and this and that. Go and claim housing. Go and claim universal credit. Go, because there has to be somebody standing in that gap. Does that make sense?
It's true.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yes, but if she decides then, especially if the children are young, and she's, you know, to fight the battle, the other, because they're both battles, but if the battle she takes, then okay, let me go and work full time, let me go do this, let me go do that, to make sure that I take care of my kids, something is going to give. What is going to happen in most cases? Either she's going to go and take the children to school system, which we're all trying to teach the fact that now we know better, to try to avoid in the normal school system, right? Because home education and true education and da-di-da-di-da. But how is she going to be able to do that and also work full time? Something is got to give. Does that
You
make
know,
sense?
you know,
So where there is an opportunity, or if it's a male now, he will also need some cover. Does he have sisters? Are the children going to go to school? Are they with the grandparent? If there's grandparents there, you see what I mean? So that he's able to work, to be able to take care of the children if he's a single father. But if now they come together, all of that can be hopefully alleviated if they're being led by God. So where there is a balance in the responsibilities, and families are rebuilt and reunited, and walls are being rebuilt, where maybe there was brokenness because of death or because of divorce or because of this or because of that. So children should never really have to suffer because this and this has happened. They're children. They didn't choose this. May God help us. Thank you.
thank you for your input, Sister V. It is so true what you said. And I think if more people have the same thought pattern, you know, when you've decided on a relationship with people with children, whether it's a man and woman, change, you know, it's for us to change our mindset and ask God to lead us in whatever relationship we've taken on board. Anybody else have anything to say? If not, Brother Caesar will close in prayer. And thank you all for listening and participating.
Let us pray. Dear Father in heaven, we thank you for the counsels that you have given us. I pray, O Father, that you may help each and every one of us, that we will show love and tender care one towards another, towards our children, towards the children that even if we marry someone who have children, that we will show the love and tender care and not have these children just there as slaves and ill-treating them physically, mentally, and even spiritually. I pray, oh Father, that we will always ask ourselves the question, what will Jesus do? So I pray, oh Lord, that you will put your spirit within us, that we will show the character of Jesus Christ, our Lord and our Savior, so that the ones who you have put us in charge of, that they will see you in us, and that your name will always be glorified. You know, we look at various scenarios, and we even talk of one woman who have, even though she was ill-treated by her husband, and the husband have children of his own, and have even his sister or his brother's children with him. That woman have taken on that responsibility. And even though he left, the children stayed with her, and she never one day showed them any ill feeling, but she always showed them love and tenderness. And these children have grown to become women of substance. And I pray, oh Father, that you will help us as mother and as father, that we will exhibit the same character of Jesus Christ, so that the name of our Lord will be glorified. Bless us all, oh Father, even as we enter into a new week, an untried week. We ask for guidance and protection. We ask that you will provide for us. We ask for healing and restoration upon those who are not well spiritually, physically, and mentally. And I pray, oh Father, everything that we do and say, that it will bring glory to your most holy name. We thank you, we praise you, and we honor your most holy name. We ask all these things in Jesus' precious name. Amen.
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 Amen. Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for joining. And I pray that we'll have a blessed week. And next week topic, we'll be ready for next week's topic. I think it's Christ's encouragement to mothers. Should be a very good one. So definitely be here to listen in. Have a blessed week and a good night, everyone.
Night, everyone.
Thank you, Elder Renshaw and Sister Anne Marie. It's been interesting.
It has,
hasn't
yeah.
Interesting. Some families make it work and some families can't.
I wonder how Mary got on with Joseph's children.
The Bible didn't say much about them, is
No,
it?
we
doesn't, no.
They didn't. It wasn't till afterwards that later on that they accepted Jesus,
Yeah.
who he was. But first of all, they was against him, weren't they?
James was one of them.
They were totally against Jesus for a lot of stuff that he was doing,
Yeah.
Yeah.
because he wasn't going according to the norm.
The
Isn't it?
Pharisees and
Yes, the
the
Pharisees
the
and them,
temple.
they esteemed them so highly. So when Jesus is talking
They said, listen
and going
to the
against
prophet.
them, there's like, no, you're doing the
Listen to
wrong
the
thing.
priest.
But,
Yeah.
Because they was a lot older than him.
They were. Yeah, I think they were grown children, from what we can understand. They were a
yeah,
lot older than Jesus. So. And the brothers and sisters, because they said his sisters are with us, so there must have been, several.
yeah,
Yeah. Anyway, it's been interesting. We sure, we've all. You see families at work. I don't know whether years ago we went to see that when we were kids. We went to see a Sound of Music. This is before I was in the church, and that worked. that one worked. It's a true story. It was a true story. He got 7 kids.
She went to the governess.
She went to the governess. Yeah.
She was a Catholic and
Catholic nun, but she went. But she was. I think she gave them grief in the nunnery or whatever you want to call it. And but it was a nice story. It was a nice story.
okay.
Yeah, and it was a true story because we saw the interview with the actual mother.
Okay.
Yeah, and it was a nice story. Anyway, have a nice. We'll just give the announcements at 4:45. It will be morning prayer.
And then at 6 o'clock,
Yes, it will be Desire
Desire
Ages.
Ages.
12 o'clock, midday prayer. We've got Elder. I can't say his second name. I can't.
Edmore.
Edmore. He'll be doing the. They'll be doing the. Yeah, Edmore. I won't try to say his second name. And yes, he's doing the sermon for midday prayer. And then it'll be 7 o'clock. I think it's Revelation. And I'm not. I think it's Brother Desire. I'm not sure. So have a nice day. Have a nice evening, everyone.
What's left of it?
Yeah, see you all tomorrow.
Okay. Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Good night.